one or two. We still have some time to fix things in Coursework 1. Somebody asked me if I would just quickly go over Coursework 2, so I can do that now. The Coursework 2 specification. Here it is. You can access it on Moodle. There's a link to it on Moodle. So it's a data visualization exercise. You might want to review the policy on asking questions. Just as a refresher, you can ask questions during class, after class, and in the Teams module. This is to manage the volume of email. Right? Imagine I get 300 students all asking me the same question through an email. That would be nuts, right? But that's usually what happens. Okay, there's a page limit, so 2 pages, and you have a 2-minute limit to your supplementary video. So the idea is that there's a fictitious character named Professor C. And Professor C at the University of Nottingham was approached by a group of researchers in the University of Oxford studying the impact of diet and food consumption on the environment. They even published a research paper, a high-impact, highly cited, groundbreaking research paper on this topic. However, you can see when you look at their work, there's a major absence of any visual depictions of the data that they published. So they asked the visualization people at the University of Nottingham for help. And that's what we're going to do. And so there's a data set as part of the paper, and it contains a massive amount of diet and food consumption data from over 55,000 consumers, linked together with food production from 38,000 farms across 119 countries. So this is a challenging data set, but this is the way it happens in the real world, right? This is more like a real world data set. Actually, this is a little bit better than a real world data set. In a real world data set, it will be this big and complicated, but it won't be so well documented. Yeah. Each row in the data set contains the following information: a participant number, so that's the people being studied, the type of diet they prefer, their gender, their age group, and then the associated environmental impacts of their diet choice. So there's a lot of data here, right? It feels like data chaos. And if you try to look at this data with a spreadsheet, it's going to be hard to gain any insights. It's going to be really difficult. You could try. So the first part of the project is just trying to understand the data. And you can get a copy of the paper here and read it. I recommend reading the paper, the research paper. Then you can download the data. There's an optional part here that's not necessary. And then you create some images that help answer some questions or create some insight. The goal is to create images that maximize our understanding of the data, and you can think about some questions like which diet is most beneficial for the environment, what is the disparity between the best and worst diets, which age group has the best diet, and so on. Is there any difference according to gender? Are there any patterns, outliers? What insight can we gain? Can we compare diets and environmental impacts across all categories? So Professor C tried to do this with some bar charts and some pie charts. bubble charts and line graphs, but he didn't like the results. They're not very insightful. So the question is, can we do better? Right, in high school we create pie charts, bar charts, and line charts. That's high school stuff. We're no longer in high school, we all graduated, so we're going to the next level here. So you can select any tool you want, or you can use Python, Java, R, MATLAB, or some other appropriate programming library. You can process the data. You can abstract it, you can aggregate it, you can include new metadata, you can supplement the data. Your task is to produce an advanced visual design which can convey some meaningful and hopefully interesting insight into the data. And then you all know, because I love templates, you fill out a template. So you create your image or your images, and then you fill out a template. Right? What is the image, the visual design type that you chose, the name of the tool that's used to generate the image, the diag groups that are shown, the variables that are shown, the visual mappings, a unique observation, if you made any changes to the data or prepared. You have the URL to a screen capture demo, and an optional URL to any source code that you might have produced. You don't have to produce any source code. You can use an off-the-shelf tool. And then you have to use some advanced visual designs. So some examples of more advanced visual designs are tree maps, parallel coordinates, matrix charts, radar charts, scatter plot matrices, and digital maps. And then there's lots of extra help. I think we set a new world record in this module for the most extra help available in the world. I think this module sets a new world record. You have lots and lots of supplementary help here. Like, if you've never used Tableau, you can look at this Tableau for beginners, a hands-on demonstration. There's just so much extra help. It's mind-boggling how much extra help there is, actually. Lots of questions and answers on the Courseworks, more questions and answers, and so on. And then there's some assessment criteria and so on. Any questions about Coursework 2? There's an example, by the way, and so on. Any questions about Coursework 2? It looks like fun, doesn't it? I will take your silence as a confirmation that yes, it looks like fun. Can't wait to work on this. It's going to be so exciting. Yeah, and you're going to learn some new things. If there are any questions, feel free to ask at any time. There's a good chance that I've already answered your questions. A very good chance. It's rare for me to get a new question anymore. It's very rare. Okay, so that's a quick introduction to Coursework 2, and today's workshop is on focus groups. That probably isn't very surprising to you, that we're going to do a focus groups workshop today, since we did focus group lecture on Wednesday. So today's exercise is creative. It's creative. Or it can be creative. It's up to you guys. This is the workshop that has a lot of potential creativity, because you can select any topic you want to discuss. Any topic. So the idea is you form groups of about 6 and add your group name and the individual names to a Google Doc. That's not too surprising, right? All the workshops are like this. You brainstorm and develop an interesting hypothesis or question as a group. This is all group. So these are just these are boring examples, really boring examples, like What is the best way to choose a dissertation topic, for example, or what are the most interesting research topics? What would be the most future interesting research methods workshop idea, like for this module? Why is AI so popular right now? Has it always been so popular? What will be the next craze or trend after AI? How long will AI's popularity last? These are just some suggestions. They're kind of boring. I already know the answers to all those questions anyways, so they're not exciting. Feel free to be creative. Pick a topic or a question that your group is interested in. You choose any topic of interest. Then you derive a set of 3 questions to test your hypothesis or answer your question. You administer the questions to members of your group and discuss the answers as a group, and you formulate a group answer. And then you also try to find some evidence to support your answers. So you do a little search on Google Scholar to see if there's any evidence to support your answers. And then you group the answers together per question, and you submit the Google Doc. So it's the hypothesis at the top, 3 questions with the group's collective answers, and you can see the example on the next slide. So just as an example, this is what it could look like. You have the name of the group plus the group members. This is just an example hypothesis. Is it possible to develop a success strategy for a master's degree in computer science? That's an example of a very generic. Not exciting. I hope yours are more creative and more exciting than this for computer science. So there are 2 example questions. You need 3, right? Example question 1, how important is it to attend classes for a successful degree? And then you discuss this question amongst the group, and you form a group answer. So an example group answer would be, the group agrees it's important to attend classes for a successful degree. Research shows there is a positive relationship between class attendance and degree success. We found a research paper that supports this finding. Here's a link to that paper. So academics have studied this, and it's true. The more you attend classes like today, the better your scores are, the better your degree is, and the higher your scores are. There's no doubt about it. There's lots of research on this topic, and I've seen it firsthand. In addition, there are other research papers to support this finding. Another example question related to the hypothesis is, how much time and effort should a student spend on coursework during their degree? The group has discussed this and expressed the following opinions. 1, studying for a degree is best treated like a full-time job in order to be successful. Some weeks will have more work than others. Weeks with deadlines might require overtime work, whereas weeks during the break may require less than full-time work. It's important to engage in physical activity outside of study to maintain a healthy work-life balance. And we found some research papers on this topic to support our hypothesis and our findings as well. And there's a link to a research paper on this. Right, here's a link to the first one, class attendance and academic performance. Right, that's a very interesting paper. Here's another one. Learning needs time and effort, a time use study of engineering students. So that's an interesting one. You need one more, right? You need 3 questions and 3 answers. Then don't just use this example. You have to think of a new one. Any questions about today's exercise? Okay, so if there are no questions, if there are questions, just let me know at any time. We'll form some groups and get started. Yeah.